Hey everybody, my name is Jennifer Turner and I am in my 19th year as an educator here in Texas. And when I first started my journey as a teacher, there was no official training on how to use spreadsheets in order to analyze data. There was really nothing. It was kind of just an expectation you analyze your data, not that somebody's going to show you how to do some what I would consider fancy things. So over the years, I have pieced together by watching videos online and reading people writing descriptions and figured out how to make it work for education. And that's what this YouTube channel is all about, is about letting you guys shortcut that and make advantage of what I've learned over the years. Because if you've done some searching, I hope you haven't had to do too much before you found this, you'll find that there's a whole language with spreadsheets. And when people who talk about spreadsheets and what they'll do, they speak in this language. It's a whole lingo, but it's not something that's really covered in education prep programs. So today I'm going to start off by showing you guys how to do what is probably the most common thing that people ask me to help them do, and that is to do a V-Lookup. So a V-Lookup is, V stands for vertical. What it means is that you are asking for it to look for information in a spreadsheet, and that whenever it finds that information, to return to whatever's to the right of it. Wherever you tell it to, but it's going to be to the right. So the information has to be on the left, the answer has to be on the right. So what I have here is just like a made-up student list. We're going to pretend that you teach about 120 students, and you want to know out of those how many are on honor roll. But really your question could be anything. All you need to have is you have some information in one place and other information in another place, and you want to merge it. That's when you're going to use a V-Lookup. So we're going to pretend these are your students. You'll notice that they're all celebrities. It's totally made up. Everything I show you today, the formatting is like what you'll see in education, but the names, ID numbers, demographic information, all completely made up. So you may have something like this. It's an honor roll report. You can probably download it from your SIS, and if it's like my honor roll report, which comes from eSchool, it's really not data friendly, in that whenever you download it, what it does is it does some weird merging. So like the students' names, it merges. You notice how all four of these columns are highlighted? It's merged over 4 columns. It also doesn't always put the ID number. You notice the ID number is in column E. Well, now it's in column F. It doesn't always put the ID number in the same column. So when you're trying to run data off of a report like this, it's not very user-friendly. So what we're going to do first off is I'm going to do Control-C to copy this, and I'm going to move it over to the same sheet file where we have that list of student names. And I'm going to add a sheet, but I'm not going to just straight paste it. I'm going to paste it as value. And that's going to get rid of the weird formatting. If you look here now, the name is only in 1 column. It's no longer spread over 4. And any weird text things, like where it had a number saved as letters or something like that, it's going to get rid of all of that if you paste it as value. And then I'm just going to do some basic cleanup. I'm going to get rid of all of this header information because I don't really need that for my purposes. So now I have the name, the student ID, grade, all of this. Okay. Now I need to add a column for what I want it to tell me if it finds the information. You can use something here. You can say, if you find the student ID, give me the grade. You can do that. But I like to add a column to where it's very clear what we've got. And I know that I have ID numbers, some there and some here. And so let's take this honor credit 7 and just make sure it's always in column K. We got some zeros here. I'm not sure why, but let's just make sure we've always got a number in column K so that it can return it, because sometimes you'll notice they're over there because it does weird things. So now we're ready for our V-Lookup. So I'm going to come back over here to my list of my students. I've created a column called honor roll because that's where I want the information to go. And my formula is going to be equals V-Lookup. That equal sign triggers to your spreadsheet that it wants you want it to do some sort of calculation, some sort of find, some sort of something, and give you the answer to whatever it is that you've put in here. That's what that equal sign looks. So equals VLOOKUP, and you're going to select a unique identifier. I like student ID personally. I work mostly at this point in my career at the campus level. So I'm working with 1,000 kids. I like student ID because with 1,000 kids, Chances of 2 kids having the same first and last name is actually pretty high. But ID numbers, it's always going to be unique to that kid. Even if I'm looking at the last 10 years of students who've been on my campus, there's only 1 kid in my district ever to have that ID number. It's going to be unique. So if you're looking at your elementary classroom and it's 20 some odd kids, ID name is probably a unique identifier for those kids. So just keep in mind, unique to that, not something that you could bring back the wrong information. I'm going to do a comma and a space because that's how you separate out the different parts of a formula in a spreadsheet. And then I'm going to tell it where to go look. So I need it to start in column E, and I'm going to include where I want the answer to be. So I'm going all the way to column K. So I'm looking in there for the ID number, and if it finds the ID number, now I have to do some counting. I want it to tell me what to give it. So I highlighted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 columns. And if it finds the student ID number somewhere in those 7 columns, I want it to give me the 7th column because I want column K. So I'm going to put, a 7 there. So no matter where it finds the ID number, give me the 7th column. And then I'm going to do comma space and I'm going to put a 0. That 0 means false. You can actually even type the word false in there if you want, but 0 is easier to type. And that means that the ID has to be exact. I'm looking for 383032. Not 383302 because that's close, but it's not exact. And so that 0 means it has to be exactly that. You're especially going to use that if you know, like, you're using names and unique identifiers and you have like an Ethan and an Evan. Those are close. And so it might give you Evan's information on Ethan's name if you say that it can be close and not exact. If it can be close, you're going to put a 1 there or you're going to write true. And then I'm going to press enter. And look, I've got a 7 here. Now, right here, if I double click there, it's going to copy it all the way down. As long as there's something in the left column, it's going to keep copying my formula. So this one is V-Lookup B2. This one is V-Lookup B12. So it's copying the formula down and moving down with the numbers to make it adjust. You'll notice that these 3 have an hashtag NA. That means they did not find that ID number, exact ID number, over in the other thing. That means those kids were not on the honor roll. So you can go through and override it and make that a no. And so then you're like, all right, so I'm looking at my kids, and my kids did really well. Most of them were on the honor roll. Every time it's a hashtag NA, it's a no. Anytime it's a 7, it's a yes. And then you can go through and manually change those formulas if you want and make that a yes. And in fact, what I would do is I would sort for the numbers. Oops, that is not what I wanted. I'm going to sort for the numbers, and I'm going to override all of that. So those are the kids on my honor roll, and the hashtag NAs are the ones that were not on the honor roll. And now I no longer have a formula in that box. I just have answers, yes or no. And that is a VLOOKUP in a nutshell. So one more time, when you do a VLOOKUP, it's equals VLOOKUP. Oh, don't forget the K. Open a parentheses. You select the cell for the unique identifier. So like this one. Comma space. You go to where you want it to look and you highlight the range, beginning with make sure you include what you want it to find and the answer in your range that you highlight. So I might highlight all of those. Then you count what you've highlighted, and it's going to make it a different color. It's blue on mine. It might be green. It might be red, whatever. But it's going to make you colors for you to count. You're going to count over. If you find that in here, give me this column number answer. And so you've got the column number here, which we said was 7. And then a 0 means that that unique identifier has to be exact. And that is how you do it. And you can see I've got my 7 again. So, if you've got questions about this, please drop me a comment below. If you would like to see a video on something else, if you're like, I would really love to know, like, education-friendly description of how to do whatever, then drop your comment below if you would like to see this in Excel and how it's the same and how it's different, because this is Google Sheets. Drop me a comment and let me know. And I hope this was helpful. Thanks, guys.